right. Without further ado, it is now time for dungeoning and dragoning these balls.
Oh dear.
Welcome back to the Ruby Desert, my sweet boobalas. It has been some time since we've played. I'm going to give a little bit extra in recap because there was a little bit of corruption at the end of our last recording session. And after, like, literally, as soon as you beat the bandit attack, the recording just like died. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, I went all the way to the end, and I was like, I thought there was stuff we talked about.
Yeah, you guys talked afterwards, and it just like cuts. So, for this episode, we're gonna give a recap to what happened at the end of last time, so that people are aware of that, and then we'll kind of get into this next session. So, you guys are a little trio adventuring party working out of a place called the Ruby Desert, a strange magical desert on the southern side of the Sword Coast that should not exist. It seems to sort of permeate this land that where if you were to come at it from another angle, it's just not there. Like if you are traveling down the that sort of main river down that way that like Baldur's Gate is set up on, if you were to travel that all the way south, you should run into the desert, but it's just not there. You can only enter it by going through this sort of chain of mountains to the south, and climbing over them leads you into the Ruby Desert. Many scholars and magicians have gone here to try and learn about it, and many scholars and magicians have lost their lives to the harsh desert winds. Over the centuries, a place called Jaryn Guar has sprung up, a thriving, if not intimidating city that runs on a blood-based economy backed by water and the Iron Bank, which is, or the Iron Guild, which is this sort of bank/governmental system that sort of watches over the city. You three have come here for various reasons, either it be those above your station, or maybe you just got an inkling that sand is cool. Either way, you've ended up here. This guy loves sand. You are working for the company under a man named Edgar Snorse. You have visited the city very briefly before getting into some legal trouble and needing to make a little bit of coin. You then returned back to your caravan where you delved into some ruins before those ruins were infested with worms, forcing you out of said ruins. The day after, a bandit raid was conducted on your camp. There were some casualties, however, you were able to protect the main block of the group. You did not lose many of your scholars and workers, and no important, like, named NPCs ended up dying, but you were not without a couple of deaths. You were able to capture one of the bandits, which Vidro cracked across the head with a stick, non-lethally. After that, you, during this fight, you tracked down the fleeing bandits into the desert, where you then coup de grace the rest of them with Rangok, the orc in charge of the Green Fist Brigade, who, with his magic shoes that you learned he has, just sprinted after them once you destroyed their skiffs. And although two of the skiffs were able to get away, one of them was too broken to get too far, you were able to destroy the rest of the vehicle, and Rangok, Rahim, and Gozzler, I think, showed up to kind of finish that off. Or it might have been Vidro. Gozzler might have been slightly too slow due to his 25-foot movement. I can't quite remember. Were you there?
I did stay back. You
did stay back? Okay. After that, you met with Edgar Snorse, who had taken a nasty bolt to the shoulder, however, seems to be recovering, no lethal injury of any kind there, and with several doctors in the camp, he will probably be okay. However, he has tasked you with bringing the corpses. What?
Sorry, I just thought Obi eat a mosquito. It was a very long process, because you know how he eats his food, he puts it in his mouth, spits it out, and puts it in his mouth. Oh,
jeez.
Yeah.
I don't got a lot of sympathy for mosquitoes.
Kind of exciting. It was a guy mosquito, too, so.
Oh, one of the long ones?
Oh.
Yeah.
Those ones are the best, I hear. You know?
They don't even bite you. He's just in it for the love of the game at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just the love of the hunt.
Mean.
You talked to Edgar Snorse, and he tasked you with taking the corpses from the fight, both bandit and friend, to Jaryn Guar. It is too expensive and difficult to ship the bodies all the way back home, and part of your contract is that if you are to die in in the Ruby Desert, you will kind of be entombed in the Ruby Desert. So you are to go to Jaryn Guar and give the bodies to the Temple of Kiur, which is a religious center in Jaryn Guar. You don't know much about it. I think that we haven't talked much about the religion of the Ruby Desert in totality. This is kind of your first foray into it. And I think we kind of open media res here with our folks. Is there anything? I know that we had a light communion of Vidro with your patron. However, is there anything that anyone needed to get done before leaving the
interrogation?
He was currently still unconscious the last time that you talked. The corpses, you were attacked in the morning, so it is the same day. You all did level up, and the way that I'm ruling it is that even though you're not getting a long rest, I would say that you can just take a short rest during the time after the attack to the time when you are leaving. You can roll your hit die up to your level and whatever. Yes, you should be level 4 now.
ShamWow.
I'm hoping everyone leveled up. If not, do it very quietly in the background and don't give it away.
I would like to be level 5. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we're not level 5. You cannot be level. No, you don't level up to level 5. You're level 4. I'm sorry. You get to be level 5 when you beat Draken, the elemental chaos man. He lives beneath your shoes, and he every time you find a rock in your shoe, like a pebble, it's actually him, just like kind of like jabbing you in the toe. If you can defeat him, you get to be level 5. You beat him?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we beat.
That's
we
true.
Beat Draken and his best friend Josh.
Jumbo Josh from Bam Bam.
Draken and Josh.
I'm not sure if you read my backstory, but I actually was born a level 20 wizard.
I did hear that, yeah.
Yeah, oh, you didn't read that? Yikes.
My bad.
Embarrassing.
So, if nobody, does anyone have any pressing matters in the camp they want to attend to before you head out?
If that fella's still asleep, then not really.
Yes, it's been about 2 hours. It's not even really that he is like asleep unconscious. It's more like, in fact, you even maybe getting a sit rep from the doctors kind of on your way out. The three of you have been spending the rest of the morning probably in your tents, repairing your wounds, maybe seeing the doctors in camp. There are a couple of them. They are pretty well trained. They are not clerics, however, you notice. They do not, there actually does not seem to be, except for one, which is the doctor for Edgar Snorse, who seems to be an actual ordained cleric who can cast miracles and whatnot. He does not seem to be helping the general populace. He seems to be there only as like an emergency, and mostly for Edgar Snorse. He seems to be like a private doctor. However, the rest of the doctors who are here, who are just medical professionals, look you guys over. No one seems to be hurt too bad. Are you waving, or are you just trying to get Obi in the shot?
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I want him to be more present, but I don't want to get rid of my gamer room. Guys, I'm just saying, if we come back and he's dead, I'm gonna be real suspicious. All right.
The lad we want to interrogate.
The lad. Yes, it's true.
I mean, I don't think it doesn't seem like they had anything to do with the bandit raid, right?
No.
Yeah.
I just want to peel his brain like a chestnut.
Yeah, well, too. And if we can't, suspicious.
It's just weird that you guys have gone from the first session where you guys spared that bandit's life, and like we made a cute little friendship with him, and now you said you want to peel his brain.
I'm not sure if you recall how our friendship with him started was by peeling his brain like a chestnut and compelling him to steal his friend's shoes.
Yeah, that is true. That was nice.
Good times.
Good times.
Good times.
You bandaged and rested. You exit your tents, and before you see nestled in the sand is a small skiff that has been saddled onto your, I believe you had 2 camels, if I remember correctly.
That sounds correct.
That you got from your last foray into Jaryn Guar, which I believe you had 3 and then sold 1. You have your 2 camels. I don't remember if you've given them names yet.
I think we jokingly gave them names, but they didn't stick.
I don't think they have any canonical names. So you have 2 camels. The 2 camels have been fixed with some makeshift ropes and harnesses to carry this small skiff behind them, which is mostly just like a couple of flat boards of teal teak wood with some wrapped corpses on them. They're not even wrapped that well. They're not like the tightly bound sort of mummied wrappings. It's more like they took a blanket and like tied them with rope and then just put them on the skiff. There are about a dozen corpses on the back of this skiff, and as you approach, you see on the sides of the camels are these like saddlebags that have been prepared for you. Inside each of them are you have a total of 10 days rations, and you have 10 days worth of water. Now, this is for 1 person, so split between the 3 of you. It's more like, what's a third of 10?
A third of 10 is like 3, and then the third.
So you got 3 days and some change worth of supplies that have been gifted to you by Edgar Snorse for this little mission. Edgar Snorse does not seem to be here. There are a couple of attendants kind of finishing the strappings to the camels, and they kind of look at you expectantly as you approach. One of them with this sort of long beard comes over. I hope you don't mind. We saddled your camels with some harnesses just to make sure that the skiff does not come off. Some of these were our friends. We'd like to treat them right.
Of course. Thank you for setting it up. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it.
Oh, it's our job. We are called handymen for a reason, yes?
Understood.
Thank you.
He gives kind of a deep bow, and kind of, what's your passive insight?
Oh.
I know, passive insight.
All of ours? My passive insight is 11.
Mine's 10.
I'm more insightful? Stop it.
Wisdom.
You can do this, Brock.
It's 8 plus proficiency, which is 2, right?
8?
I believe
plus your wisdom.
It's just plus your wisdom, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's proficiency plus wisdom. No, you're right.
No, it is 10 plus your wisdom.
Oh, it's 10 plus wisdom?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I
guess that does kind of.
No one ever asks me.
I got 12.
12. Okay. So Rahim and Vidro, you notice he seems to be kind of fiddling his fingers, almost like he wants to ask you something, but is kind of still mulling over if he's going to say anything.
I look at Vidro as if like, you know the social stuff a little better than me.
I sort of walk up, so we are like face to face.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at him.
How tall is Vidro again?
He's on the shorter side of things. I think I wrote it down actually. He's like 5'6" ish.
I've always imagined him as a little shoddy.
Despite your short stature and thin frame, he does seem to almost shrink back a little bit as you approach him, just naturally.
Something seems to be on your mind. What exactly is the issue?
I don't want to be a bother, but you're going into the city. I have a contact there. I was hoping maybe you could check up on for me. He works in the temple. I was hoping that maybe you could, and he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small wrapped envelope. It's not like a professional envelope or anything. It just sort of a piece of paper that's been like kind of glued to itself. He kind of hands it over to you, Vidro, and sort of sheepishly kind of moves his feet. He's an older fellow. He actually He runs the church there. His name, he's the Kalesh. You will know him when you see him. He's an old friend of mine. We actually used to work together. If you could give him this letter, I would be in your debt. I don't have much to offer. However, it would be, maybe I could owe you a favor in the future. As
a person who is very familiar with how favors work, I look at him and I say, "You suppose that could be arranged? What's a friendly favor between friends?"
or maybe we could, do it for free.
I think he'd be more at ease, just sort of owing us one.
No, I agree. I would not want you to ask you this for free. I work in commerce after all. Yes. Tell him that David says hello.
David. Sounds good. And I turn to the rest of the party and I say, "Looks like we've got a little bit of a messenger duty to do as well."
It's on our way.
I love doing jobs. I think they're great.
We'll make sure your letter gets to the right people, David.
He bows very deeply, and kind of like sort of awkwardly, without saying anything, shuffles off away from you, and sort of disappears into the camp.
Do you think we're allowed to read it? That's fucked up, right?
What?
Do you think we could read it? No.
I mean, is the letter sealed?
The letter is sealed by what seems to be wax. There's no like crest or anything on it. Like if you were to need to reseal it, it would probably be pretty easy. It would be hard to sort of do it exactly the same, but it literally looks like he like used his thumb to like print in the seal.
It's sealed up pretty tightly. And also, I don't think it'd be nice to invade David's privacy like that.
I mean, if you just sliced open the paper, then I could mend the paper back together. However, if we're feeling nosy, only if we're feeling nosy. If we're not feeling nosy, then I would never do that.
I think we should at least get out of camp first before we do any espionage.
Yeah, I hate being nosy. So, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Famously, I love minding my own business. That's my favorite thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And you know
that's what makes us a great team.
That's why I love you guys. You mind your own business.
None of us stick our nose in anyone else's business.
Thank God.
I can't imagine.
With that, are you guys getting ready to saddle up?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys mount up on your camels. They definitely have like as you sort of start to go off, they do seem to be struggling to physically carry you and the skiffs. You'll basically move slower unless you are walking beside them. They are going to be okay. They will be like encumbered otherwise.
I'll lead the boys.
Okay. Yeah, and it won't slow us down any to be walking, right? Like
no, it won't.
Speed us up. Okay.
Yeah. Gozzler, like you could probably get away with riding one. I feel like you're probably light enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty small.
Yeah. You begin traversing your way into the desert. Can I get you have a small map that Edgar Snorse gave you at the beginning of the adventure to kind of help you navigate between where the camp is and where Jaryn Guar is. So could I get whoever is navigating a survival check with advantage, as you more or less know where you're going?
I should do it. I got a +5, I believe. Sorry, I have a +3 to survival. Does anyone have better survival than me?
Better than what I got.
Better than what I got.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Alright, I'm rolling with advantage.
Hell yeah.
Other marker.
The advantage of the map to tell us where to go.
Alright. 11 for the first roll. Sorry, it's hard to get it to land somewhere. And 17 for the next.
With the 17, you have now walked this path twice, once on the way there, once on the way back, and you think you know a couple of sort of valleys in between dunes that you could walk through to kind of give yourself a bit of a shortcut, and you are actually able to cut down a little bit of your time. What was once a 2-day journey kind of starts to meld into like a day and a half, give or take. You camp for the first night in the middle of the dunes. Your camping supplies has already been put onto the camels for you. They kind of set up a nice little thing that you have some bed rolls, you have some tents that they're kind of rounded so that if there's a sandstorm, they can kind of get covered by the sand without like toppling in on themselves. And your rations are not just like dried food because it's only a couple-day journey. They've actually given you these little like cups of soup, like stew, that have been sealed in jars and just need to be like warmed up by the fire. They've also given you some kindling and teal teak that has been dried to make yourself a fire in the desert so that you can stay warm. They have really set you up for this. You kind of get the imagination that either Edgar Snorse is very happy with you or David really wanted you to do this favor. You can't tell which one it was, but they've definitely set you up for this little trek.
Very ritzy. May I ask?
Absolutely treated.
Is dried teal teak also bendy, or is it, or does it get snappy?
It gets very snappy.
Hell yeah.
Teal teak bows have to be very specifically treated, and so teal teak, the kind of the problem with teal teak is that the only way to get it to work like regular wood is to like really like refine it. And so while it's not like the most uncommon thing in the world, it's just costly to get it to work to the capacity of like hardwood that you would find outside of the desert, which is why other woods are so expensive here. It's not that it's useless, it just it requires a lot of doing.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's dried teal teak makes very, very good firewood.
Gotcha.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, you
All right.
settle around the fire. You here, let me change the music for you real quick. As you
Fire music.
settle around.
Ooh, I'm a big fan of fire.
True. You settle around the fire and watch as the desert sun sinks below the sandy waves. The stars are out tonight, and it is actually a rather beautiful scene. You can see lights on the horizon, even without a perception check. They are not just pinpricks. It seems that not too far from you, there is another group traveling. They don't seem to be coming closer to you. They are probably maybe a half a mile to a mile out, and they are heading kind of in the same direction as you are, and seem to be slowing and maybe starting their own camp off in the distance. You look as what appear to be these very, very small, and Rahim, you would actually recognize these little like shapes move underneath the sand by your feet. Rahim, you recognize these as these are probably baby ruby scorpions that will to keep warm at night, they will travel underneath the sand, and then they will like detect vibrations of things walking on the sand, and or like little bugs, and they'll like come out to like get them and then bring them under the sand, almost like antlions, except they don't have like a trap. They just kind of move around. There seems to be quite a few of them by your camp. Gozzler and Vidro, why don't you guys maybe make me a nature check to see if you know what they are?
Ooh, heck yeah, nature.
Nature.
I have advantage in nature, so I could help someone roll.
If you just tell them what it is, I don't think they would need to roll. It depends on if you're...
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I'll tell them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you see these...
We got little baby scorpions here. Little baby guys.
Oh, God. Are they dangerous at all?
Do you pick one up?
Yes.
Yeah.
I pick it up. Oh, did we both pick it up?
Vidro and Rahim both pick up a little ruby scorpion out of the sand. When they are really, really young, that is probably when they are the brightest red. Even by the fire glow of the camp, you can tell that they are extremely scarlet. They wriggle and writhe in your hands, and the little stinger like pricks your hand, but they are very young and have not developed their full poison. It might give you a tummy ache later. But as you drop them back down, they skitter back into the sand. They don't seem to be very good at dodging you. Like, if you just keep trying to pick them up, they don't really seem to be very good at not getting captured. They more seem to be moving in like little zigzag patterns, but they don't, like, they can't tell when you're coming to grab them.
These little guys are, you know how sometimes like a little scorpion is like really poisonous? Well, these ones are just babies, so they don't have that in them yet, so they're very, well, I'm not gonna say they're super nice, but they're not gonna hurt you or anything. I mean, you might get a little sick if you get stung, but just a little sick, nothing bad. They're great. Actually, this is my favorite thing to do. I put 2 fingers for his little pinchers, and I dance him around like a puppet.
He grabs on and is kind of moving. Each finger is getting stung like over and over again on each one, and you watch as Rahim's fingers swell up a little bit as he plays with it.
I've done like that before, so I'm just.
It doesn't look particularly pleasant. Oh god.
I thought it was funny, so that's something we used to do when I was a kid. All right, I thought you guys might appreciate some culture,
No, it's interesting.
I agree. It was definitely entertaining to watch, I suppose.
Yeah, you want me to see you again? I put my middle fingers down this time. Oh shoot.
No worries.
Shoot.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys do for your nighttime that you want to get like prepared for or do as you settle down?
Pour out the sand in my legs.
Right.
So do we want to look at that letter? Probably not, right? Probably not.
No.
All I'm saying is we are capable of looking at the letter if we so chose, and could live with ourselves for making such a choice.
That's what I'm thinking. And also, it might not even look like we did it all, which is something to keep in mind.
As the holder of the letter, I think that there's probably nothing more interesting in here than a letter between friends.
He seems so antsy, though.
He just seemed antsy because he was scared of us, I think. We're a particularly scary bunch.
That's rude. But you're right.
I mean, look at me, and then look at you. I mean, Gozzler, not so much, but still, he could hold his own in combat.
I think you're kind of scary and tough. You're a tough guy. You're a tough little guy.
A little sulky, and that has a certain rough edge to it.
Hey, so it's certainly plausible that he could be scared of us, and honestly, I pull out the letter, and I say, it doesn't look like there's anything in here. Like, I can't imagine there's any dark secrets in here.
I would feel bad if it was like a love letter or something. I don't want to,
Exactly.
I've always believed that's, between you and your sweetheart, so.
But what if he's leaking company secrets?
And then, no.
What secrets?
I don't know, proprietary information.
I'm certain it's fine. If you're really curious, you can ask our friend at the temple.
Wait, Vidro, think of it this way. What if we find out something that puts us in real good with Mr. Snorse? Don't you think that could be like a good strategy? Maybe like a...
As much as I love smoozing up the Snorse, I actually really don't care what he thinks of us.
What if inside the letter, what if there's a letter in there that says, please attempt to murder whoever is carrying this letter that I am handing you now?
While we're in the middle of the temple.
Horrible.
Right there, in the middle of the temple.
Could be. Or maybe maybe there's a very detailed plan in there about asking us to dinner and then we go, and then after dinner we go to his house and get murdered.
And we get a free dinner out of it? This sounds like a great deal to me. Let me put it this way. I don't think there's many things that could really take us down. Unless he sends Flame after us again. But we already took care of that guy.
We have a 50% chance of being able to beat Flame a second time.
I take a gold piece out of my pocket and I flip it and I say, "It's a Tails Gozzler."
I think that means that we're fine. I think in this case, in this scenario, I believe that we're good.
Hi.
Heads.
And so, actually, I'm not even curious what's inside the letter anymore. In fact,
what, Gozzler?
I'm not even thinking about it. That's what it was. I care little enough about the letter that I'm not even going to continue talking about it.
Alright. And I understand.
Yeah, me too.
I trust you both so much. I'm going to leave the letter, and I set the letter a whole arm's distance away from my bedroll. I'm going to set the letter right here. Just because I know I can trust you two just enough that you won't try and open it in my sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if someone else tries to read it first?
Who else? The people at the camp over there.
That's a fair point.
Camel could read it.
The camel could read it!
Oh my god.
I've heard people can turn into animals. You ever heard of that?
But if somebody can turn into animals, why would they waste all this time being a camel?
To really win the game.
Really deep undercover,
Yeah.
I understand.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm not worried about it.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm not worried about anything. I'm
gonna go to bed and rest. Finally.
I agree. It's been a long
sleep.
day.
Yeah.
This is the same day that the bandits attacked us.
This is the same day as the bandit attack.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we gonna ask him when he wakes up?
What do you want to know?
They seem sick, you know? Like, what if they were desperate? Like, I'm not trying to sound like I care, but...
Or it could be an affliction from an angry god.
Could be an affliction from an angry god, I've heard of that.
Met a few angry gods in my day. I say, like a joke.
I laugh a little too sadly.
But I'm sure, like, whatever it was, like you said, Rahim, they were probably desperate. Most bandits are.
I feel like that felt like a very premeditated attack. I feel like normally desperation would be more like them like charging at us going rah, instead of like such a coordinated, like it seemed like they had resources to do it. They had like a bunch of skiffs and like they weren't great. They exploded very easily, but
maybe they just wanted to look tough and they're not. I mean, we beat them weirdly easily. I mean, it was not that easy, but
I take a lion, one of my marbled lions out of my pocket and start fiddling with it. And I look at Gozzler and I say, well, Gozzler, desperation can manifest in a multitude of ways.
yeah.
All I'm saying is I've been desperate once or twice, and I've never, ever attempted a mass murder because of it.
Yeah.
True.
That is true. I mean, yeah.
I mean, unless
You're
they
right.
count those worms.
The worms,
Yeah.
the worms, I would count that more as like we didn't even stand our ground. We ran away and also annihilated them.
Yeah, we kind of killed it. It's not a big deal, though.
We're very good at what we do.
Right.
Yeah. We don't
good.
need more knowledge. Sounds
No, I-
stupid.
Famously love not knowing things.
Me
Right.
too.
Well, I'm glad we've settled this, and I'm glad I can trust you both. I'm going to go get some rest. I'm probably going to be conked out all night. I'm exhausted from that fight.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm gonna roll and see if I can resist this.
Yeah, ditto.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I love it. While you do that, we watch as you all snuggle into your own tents. Each of you does get one. Gozzler, yours is significantly smaller due to your size. Like, the other two get the same size tent, even though they are very different sized, but I guess they gave you, like, a gnome tent, which is just a tent, but it's a little one. Which could be insulting, depending on how you feel about it. The night is rather quiet. You don't seem to have any attacks in the middle of the night. No animals are mucking about. And after probably, let's say, at least an hour, we're gonna check in. What does our little crew look like? Vidro, we'll start with you. About an hour has gone by into the night. What are you doing? And or are you just asleep?
I am very tired.
Okay, so does Vidro literally just go to bed and be like, I trust you guys?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
That's so funny.
he at this point, like, they've not really, like, he's obviously a little bit, like, he knows, like, oh, maybe they'll try and look at the letter, but also he is not worried about it because, one, like, in his view, it is literally just a letter between friends.
Mm-hmm.
And two, he's like, if I stay up, the longer I stay up worrying about this letter is hours of sleep I'm not gonna get.
That's fair.
He is just gonna rest as hard as he can because I've got some hit points to recover.
Brock, what is your first give me your passive perception, just so I know it.
My passive perception is 13.
13. And can you make me a Constitution saving throw?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you what it's for.
Constitution saving throw. That is a 10 plus 3 for also 13.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Lucky
Gozzler,
number.
you are in your tent. An hour has gone by. What is the state of Gozzler?
Flat on my back, eyes wide open. I'm having like a silent conversation with myself. I in this moment really wish I could flip a coin, but I only have the one double-headed coin. I know that I must not, but I'm just like thinking, I'm like just like coming up with the scenarios where I'm like, what if like perhaps a djinn emerged from the sands and demanded to know the contents of the letter? What if I was held at knife point and needed to know the contents of the letter? And I'm just like mumbling myself inside my tiny tent, just trying to like come up with an excuse to do it.
All very justifiable.
I'm gonna knock.
You're gonna.
I'm gonna knock
It's
on
a 10.
Gozzler's tent. Yeah, I shake the.
Gozzler, there's a furious of your tent.
Who goes there?
I poke my head in, with my eyes closed to be polite. I am wondering if you might want to read the letter. I could take my head out.
Are we bad? Are we bad people? Are we bad people?
Yeah, I think I have a. I'm seriously gonna think about this problem later, but right now I just want to know.
It's just very specifically, it's just hidden knowledge, and knowledge should be shared. Knowledge.
I hate.
It's information.
Exactly. And it could be very bad for us. I just think he doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it.
We do.
We're curious souls.
Exactly. And what could be wrong with that, honestly? Do you want to do mending after I
can even yoink it with a mage hand, and it would be so easy.
Oh God.
That sounds great. Okay. Let me know if you need me to do anything. I will tell you this. I'm not very stealthy.
Okay. This is a communal idea. This is not just me. Confirm. Okay. Excellent.
Absolutely.
What's the Vidro tent situation look like?
It's a bit of a mishap. Like, it's obvious that I don't really know exactly how the tents work. So one side is sort of collapsed down, but I've just sort of inched my bedroll to the side that, like, it's basically like one side's deflated down, and because of that, the other side is much higher than it needs to be. So I'm in that higher half of the tent, just sort of like curled up in my bedroll.
Is the letter inside your tent or outside of it? Because I know you said you placed it further away from you.
Yes, it is outside my tent.
Okay. So next to Vidro's very poorly set up tent is just the letter is like half buried in the sand to make sure that it doesn't like go off in the wind, and it's just
it's like
sitting there, just almost dripping with intrigue.
I face the other way, I close my eyes, and I send my mage hand to go grab it.
Roll me a stealth.
I'm like facing away from it too.
What are the components of casting mage hand? Is it verbal and somatic?
Let me take a little looky-loo at it. My mage hand. It is verbal and somatic, yes.
Okay, yeah, so roll stealth.
Okay.
Is the verbal components.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, let's check here. That's what we call in the biz an 11.
An 11. Okay. So let's see. I'm double checking the ruling on an unconscious character. Let's see.
I'm unconscious.
Can't move or speak. Unaware of its surroundings. Okay. I'll say this. Vidro. You hear something in the night. Your eyes flutter open. You are in your tent. Outside of something that woke you up, you don't really hear anything else. The campfire has gone low. There's a very dim firelight kind of licking the side of your tent, but you seem to be alone.
I see. Considering that what woke me up yesterday morning was arrows flying through my tent, Vidro is suspicious.
Okay.
He thinks his first thought is not of his wonderful teammates stealing the letter. His first thought is of the camp half a mile away, thinking that perhaps the remaining bandits have caught up with us.
Okay.
I grab my quarterstaff and I cast Shillelagh on it.
Okay.
As a bonus action.
Gozzler, your mage hand, what does your mage hand look like, by the way?
It's the most like Mickey Mouse Sorcerer's Apprentice ass like white glove that just like floats over and boinks.
You notice when you cast it that the glove, like when you cast it, it looks like it is covered in like sand and dirt and dried blood, which is not usually what it looks like when you cast it, even in the desert. Like, this is a little strange for you, but you have heard that the desert like fucks with people's magic, so it's not like the most alarming thing, but it's really weird to see it firsthand. As the mage hand grips the letter and begins pulling it from the sand, you hear some very softly spoken arcane words come from Vidro's tent, and then you hear like the sound of glass like hardening over something. You have the letter in the mage hand, half out of the sand. Is there anything you immediately do when you hear this?
So I'm gonna ask for a degree of fiat in this situation, based on whether or not it is viable to to throw the letter and dispel the mage hand.
I'll give you this. I'll give you this. We'll do it.
I'll go try to catch it like a football.
Like a football.
Okay.
Like a football.
Sure. Why don't...
I can roll it still.
Why don't... Yes. So, you know... How do I... Okay. I got it. Rahim, Gozzler, and Vidro, I want all of you to roll me dexterity.
Ooh, okay.
Gozzler, you can use Arcana if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay. Dexterity. I finally don't have a -1. This is the best thing ever.
21.
Very nice.
Okay. Ooh, A 19.
Okay.
I got a 15.
15. Okay. So, Rahim, what did you get again? 19?
19.
Okay, now can you roll me your stealth?
Rats. Less good at that. Okay, hang on. Okay, that's 12, and I have disadvantage. And that's 11. So
You
11.
would not have disadvantage. You probably aren't wearing your armor.
That's true.
So you have a 12?
My first roll was 12.
Okay, so this is what we see play out. We watch as the hand begins picking up the letter. Rahim, you hear the noise, same as Gozzler, and dash out to go grab the letter as the hand dissipates away, and Gozzler kind of sinks back into his tent. Rahim, you're able to snatch the letter out of the air and bring it to yourself. Just as you watch Vidro, you fling open your tent flap, and Rahim is standing there, like 5 feet away, letter in hand, looking incredibly suspicious and sheepish.
Not true, because this is what I'm about to do.
Oh.
The letter almost blew away. I'm gonna go put it back in the sand and cover it up.
Can I roll to call the bluff?
Yeah, how about this?
Here, can I roll against it?
Yeah, Laney, Rahim roll deception, Vidro roll insight. We are going to take our break here because there's there's an ad playing now. So we will reconvene with those rolls in 5 minutes, and we will see how this plays out. All right? Okay.
God damn it.
I will be right back. Chat, survive. Give me 1 minute. Or well, 5
survive.
minutes. If you got to pee, do it now.
Sister's knife. All right, I'd be back.
I'm gonna go get some water.
Okay.
Oh, phew.
So,
I was like, oh no, what did I not turn on? I realized I'm on.
What did you get for your insight, Brock?
I got a 14 plus 4 for 18.
Fuck! I got a 9.
So,
Sorry.
Vidro,
I'm a terrible liar.
believe it or not, in this scenario, it does seem like Rahim may be lying about the letter blowing away. I know that's hard to
Rahim.
believe.
Yeah.
We're comrades. I've never once lied to you. And you come to me
So-
in the night?
Not true. That is so not true. All right. You're lying to me about something. You like to pretend you're a simple guy, but you're not a simple guy.
Rahim!
Gozzler, you just hear
Sorry.
all this in your tent.
I'm gonna I'm gonna like scruff up my hair a little bit and like look extra sleepy. I'm gonna come out of the tent. What's happening out here?
Gozzler, you're not going to believe it. Rahim was trying to steal the letter.
I
That
go
is
I
not
go
true.
full the face of betrayal.
Do I get a sense that Gozzler was in on this too?
Roll
Or
insight.
is this another?
Would you like to roll deception?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Let me see if I have anything that can modify this with here.
Don't worry, Gozzler.
Nah, yeah, I'm just gonna go flat deception. Okay. Oh, gee whiz. Ah, that's a 7.
No.
I rolled a 4 plus 4 for 8.
Something seems off about Gozzler. He doesn't seem like he's just woken up. You've rested with Gozzler a couple of nights now, and usually when he wakes up, he usually like has like bags under his eyes. He's kind of a slow riser, but he seems awfully keen and awake. But seems to be maybe faking it. That he's sleeping.
I point my quarterstaff, fully sheathed in glass, at Gozzler, and I say, Gozzler, don't tell me you were in on this too.
I have not touched the letter.
But why were you awake?
Because
Surely you heard Rahim going for the letter.
I really wanted to touch the letter.
Oh my god!
I think we should open it.
Oh my God.
I think we should open it. Okay, how about this, Vidro? Listen to me. If you tell me it doesn't have to be very. If you tell me something about yourself that I don't already know, I won't read the letter. I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you promise?
Well, I mean, I gotta. Gozzler, how do you feel about that?
You gotta pull the room.
Gozzler at this point, I think I'm a little bit too, I'm embarrassed to have been had. So, in order, regardless of whether you buy it or not, I gesture wildly in the other direction, announce to the room, Gozzler's dead! Summon a minor illusion of my own corpse next to next to the tent, and I just scuttle back into my tent and lay down.
Gozzler has receded from the conversation. It is now just Vidro and Rahim awkwardly standing by this sputtering fire.
Oh my god.
Fake corpse.
Yeah, sorry, and corpse Gozzler, which is just like Family Guy posed in the sand to the corner.
Well, I guess it's just you and me, Rahim. I did know that I'm in the secret sharing mood. So, Rahim,
I don't look too interested, but I definitely look too interested.
I'm going to tell you something that I have not told you guys before.
Is it a secret? I mean, sorry, is it true? You wouldn't lie, would you?
What? Well, I have every right to lie to you because you've lied to me about the letter. But this, I swear to you, is true.
It doesn't... My lie didn't even work, so why would I be punished twice for that? I don't... Okay.
Well, I'm here to tell you. Rahim, and I lean in very, very close so Gozzler can't hear him. Rahim.
Yeah.
I'm an uncle.
Wow.
I know. You really look at a grizzled figure like me and you think I'm a bit of a loner, but no, I'm an uncle of 3. Very beautiful.
3? Jesus.
I know. My brother was very busy.
So true.
Who
has time to make more than one?
I know. I just figured that you really wanted to know more about me. I'd be more than happy to share.
That is... I'm touched. Do you want to read the letter?
You promised that I would share a secret about me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm gonna read the letter. I'm just wondering if you want to read the letter.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm very much not interested in the letter. But I think, and I'm going to reach out and try and take the letter from you.
I buried it back in the sand.
Yeah, he's buried it back in the sand, so it's just sitting there.
I reach down and I pick up the letter from the sand. But I think I might hang on to this in my tent for the night.
Yeah, that's very understandable. I'm really sorry for waking you up, and I'm pretty embarrassed. Thanks for sharing your secret with me.
And please don't tell Gozzler. I really don't want him to think I'm any softer than I am.
Your secret is safe with me. I promise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Rahim.
Good night. Sleep
please.
Well.
Yeah, please get some rest.
Oh yeah.
And with that, I open up my tent flap, but I have to turn it the other way because if I turn it the right way, it collapses my tent to the point I can't get in.
Yeah, no, you fuck with your tent, you enter in, and as you are getting ready to sleep, you notice your eyes fall upon the small glass effigy that you had been thumbing earlier, and you notice 2 things. You notice, 1, there is now dried blood where its eyes are, almost like tears running down its face. But there's also a large, unnerving grin plastered into its face that you did not sculpt.
Oh, gods. I say, under my breath, do not let Rahim hear anything more.
I'm holding a cup to your door.
I got a water glass. I quickly and swiftly pick up the lion, and I sort of I go to, like, brush the blood off the front of it.
as your thumb passes over the face, it seems almost as if it never had any blood on it to begin with, and the face has returned back to a regular lion.
God, it's getting worse. And with this, I know that I may have to start continuing my craft even further, even faster than I have already. But I am gonna get some rest for tonight and worry about this in the morning.
Yeah, tomorrow problem.
Yeah, problem for tomorrow.
You sleep maybe less soundly than you would have been hoping for, as all of you have kind of had an uncomfortable night with your compatriots. Maybe one of the first times you've actually had any arguments that have had some weight behind them. But the night goes by. There are no attacks. You do hear what almost sounds like distant music off in the direction of the other encampment that you saw walking by, maybe a party or something, but it's so distant and hard to hear that you can't quite make out what the vibes of it are. The next day, you wake up. Oh, that's immediately. You wake up the next morning, and the sun already kind of beating down makes your tent so insufferably hot that you can do nothing but wake up to the desert's heat. You are drenched in sweat. You probably have, maybe you slept in, maybe the days are weird here, but something feels like just a little off. Like, for the most part, I am. Yeah. Can you not hear it?
I think I got disconnected.
Oh yeah,
me too.
Oh, I also got booted.
Let me get that going for you.
This guy booted us.
Oh god.
I will put it in our private chat here.
Oh my god.
Should it sound like this?
No, it should sound like.
Yeah,
does it sound like wah, 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 wah?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, it's very hot when you wake up. You are stifled in your tent, your own sweat creating this kind of humid enclosure. You know when you go camping and you wake up and it's like really hot and you're like, oh fuck this. It's that times 1,000. It is so like. You wake up because your body is starting to already experience dehydration just being in this tent. Like, it is insufferably hot. And it's a little weird to you that you've woken up so late, maybe for some of you. It was pretty late when you guys had that, and you had a large ordeal the other night. But something just feels a little weird in the morning. You can't quite place it. You slept in.
Suspicious. I come out of my tent with my legs on. And my armor on.
After donning your outfit, you walk out, and the sun is actually not very high in the sky. It's probably maybe 10 in the morning. It seems like all of you have slept like 2 hours later than usual.
Do I have any reason to be suspicious of this, or am I just like, wow, that's I'm sleepy, eepy?
It depends on. I think probably not. I think that it does just kind of feel like you woke up late. It was a long day the other day, and there doesn't seem to be any reason outside of that for why you'd be up this late. It's just weird that all of you slept in.
Okay.
So weird.
I would have expected at least one of us to get up before me, but seems we all slept in for a little bit longer than we thought.
Why is it so bright?
Yeah, I guess we were. Oh my god, I'm gonna go check on the bodies and make sure they're not nasty in there.
They are wrapped, but there is a smell starting to waft from this pile of corpses that have been baking in the summer heat for a couple of hours now.
All right, guys, we really got to get going. Make a bed.
Yeah, I don't like that very much, actually.
Kind of yuck.
Yeah.
You do.
Why
as
did
you
sleep in?
Can you, Laney? Can you roll me an investigation?
Yeah, I can.
Oh my gosh. Do you think it was the baby scorpion poison?
Well, I don't think the Gozzler didn't get stung by that.
Oh, right.
Let's see. Investigation. Okay, +0.
Nope.
Good thing I checked. Suffocation. Nat 20, boy.
Nat 20, as you come closer to the pile of corpses you are transporting, you do notice small, writhing, sort of lumps in the pile, and you see a small scorpion skitter past a leg. And it seems that the bodies may or may not have baby scorpions using it as like a mini den during the day, because the ruby scorpions are typically nocturnal, and during the day they like to bury themselves in things, and it seems that the thing that they've buried themselves into is this pile of meat.
I am like frantically, softly trying to pat them out, like.
You watch as dozens and dozens of baby scorpions start skittering out and going into the sand. You see dark blood that is long since like coagulated into the bodies, seep into the linens, and go from this nice tannish white to a horrid burgundy red as they sort of skitter out of the corpses. You watch as the bodies seem to almost be moving and jostling with how many scorpions, and it's probably like 60 or 70 baby scorpions coming at it. Like, it is so many. And it takes you like at least 5 minutes to like get most of them out. You suspect there are probably some that are still in there, but you've kind of done what you can without going into the linens and really getting in there.
Oh my god, we're in so much trouble. This is not good.
I'm not sure we're in trouble. That's just the elements. Nature's mysteries. That's very bad. Actually, I hate it, but I don't think we're in trouble. But that's bad. Ethically, I feel bad.
I feel bad. Maybe we could ask the temple people if they'll accept it.
I mean, they're gonna like bury him, right?
I think they're gonna suck them dry.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine, but just in case there's a few stragglers, I'm going to cast Thaumaturgy and cause harmless tremors in the ground.
Oh, okay.
Could I cast that on the body?
Yeah,
so
I like that.
Yeah.
You watch as all of the bodies begin to shake like a mini earthquake is residing just on the skiff they've been placed on. And you watch as probably another like 20 to 30 scorpions that were like laying deep in the pile writhe their way out in fear as the whole thing moves and skitter into the sand. And although the skiff keeps shaking, none more seem to be coming out.
I yarf. I rolled a 3, so I
yarfs.
yarf. I yarf. Oh, sorry, that's very disturbing.
Rahim, I thought you were accustomed to these scorpions.
I love scorpions.
Oh god.
I'm fine now.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing better, I suppose.
Alright, okay, we need to get a move on.
The problem is solved.
What problem?
Exactly. There, nothing. Nature is beautiful. And we are simply, it's shepherds, it's stewards in this solemn of quests. Ugh.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I start like preparing everything to like get going, and
you guys,
I'm ready to go.
Prepare to head out. Anything you want to do before you go?
We grabbed the letter.
Yeah, I'm going to use my Eldritch Invocation Armor of Shadows just to mage armor up for the day.
Okay.
If he's not already around, I will bring Arson into the world.
Yeah, Arson. What is Arson right now? Is he still a hawk?
I think he might have at his last moment been squished by worms. So
Well, you had that talk with Arson where you apologized for burning him. So I think he is resummoned.
I think he's just he's a raven now.
A raven, yes. Arson squawks at you, kind of like picks at the sand where the scorpions were and plucks out one of the little scorpions and like starts downing it. You look on with either affection or horror to your own, or I don't know. What do you feel when you look at Arson consume this little ruby scorpion?
It's like an intellectual like basically like a compulsory like scientific understanding that like, yeah, that's what happens. But like definitely like 3 inches deep is like oh.
Yeah. Arson, after finishing its meal, flutters up and lands on your shoulder. It's his black dot eyes kind of looking at you, maybe less hostile than it used to. A little more friendly.
A late breakfast. That's what I always say, anyways. Agreed.
Arson wriggles into your shirt to get away from the desert sun, and just kind of pokes his head through your shirt collar to like look around, almost like in a baby Bjorn, just kind of looking around. You begin your trek once again. Rahim, can you roll me that survival with advantage one more time as you close in on the city? 13. No shortcuts this time. However, you've already cut a little time out of your travel time, and at about maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you come to the gates of the city. Again, sort of nestled in this natural large rock formation that is sort of shaved on the top like a natural plateau, sits the city of Jaryn Guar. Always bustling, always hustling, and filled with blood. Not openly, just kind of around in a general sense. The guards do not give you much hassle. They kind of see the bodies that you're bringing in, and there seems to be an understanding of what you're here to do with them, and they direct you towards the temple lying off the western side of the market district. It is closer to you than the market district. You don't actually have to go through it to get there. It's closer to the tavern you stayed in than it is to like the center of the city. So these are kind of streets you've already gotten a little acquainted with.
Thank God.
Moving through the city, you it's maybe kind of weird to be back among so many people. Like when you're in Jaryn Guar, it is like their population is a lot heavier than you would expect for a city out in the desert. Like it's almost like everyone who lives here lives in this city. It is like the New York City of the desert. Everyone is coming and going, and what you didn't see last time that you see this time, I think you maybe saw 1 or 2, but you watch as overhead a large shadow envelops you, and you look up and there is a flying ship that soars overhead, almost very lazily going through the sky off towards the north. I don't know if Rahim, you have seen these before. Gozzler and Vidro, would you have ever seen a sky ship before? They're pretty rare. They are mostly in the desert.
I would definitely know. I think if that's like a thing that like goes like out of the desert at points, I think that's probably something that'd be like very annoying in places outside of Jaryn Guar, being like, did you know that there are places where they take like flying ships?
Yeah. These large ships. I'll just give it to you because this is like a fundamental knowledge of Jaryn Guar. They are the only way that they trade with the outside world. The only way to get through the mountain pass and through the desert without bringing a shit ton of equipment is to use one of these extremely expensive ships, which cannot carry that much weight. Just keeping themselves afloat is already an incredible feat of magic. Having cargo on them is just that much more difficult. So these ships are used to bring what little they can in between. They are still kind of a work in progress. They are the like biggest and newest technological advancement in Jaryn Guar that is kind of connecting the city to the outside world for the first time, which is why it's Gozzler, you would know this. It's one of the reasons why Silvira has sent you here, is because Jaryn Guar is starting to make more contact with the outside world, and to help establish those trade routes, knowing a bit more about Jaryn Guar would be extremely helpful. This is one of the reasons why you've been sent here to collect information. It sails by, the ship itself is like maybe the size of a like a traditional ship vessel, but instead of having like sails on the top, it's like a flat board with like a rounded bottom on it. You make your way through the city. People seem to be kind of looking up at it, but like it's maybe not so uncommon that it's like a spectacle. As people are still going about their day, it doesn't take you long before you come to the Temple of Kier. It is a sort of standing, almost monument-like structure. It is a very, very similar to the Guild of Iron. It is a ziggurat-style structure, just much smaller and more shaped like a mini pyramid rather than a sort of huge multi-room structure. It has a flat top and a single doorway with a curtain in front of it, and there is a triangle on the very top of the doorway, kind of symbolizing whatever religion operates out of here. There doesn't seem to be traffic moving in and out of it. It seems pretty, maybe not empty, but there's not people coming in and out. This does not seem to be a oft-traveled area, at least at this part of the day.
Excellent. Ye fucking ha.
I would hate for any poor passerby to see our mangled corpse crew.
The corpse wagon's coming through.
You note that, but the people, like, you have to pass through crowds of people, and they really barely give a second eye to the fact that you just have a skiff of corpses. And I think, like, even on this trip, you see other, like, body wagons, like, throughout the city that are moving corpses from place to place. Blood is the commerce here, and that typically comes from corpses. It is not ignored, but it is pretty common in the city to see corpses being moved around. As you approach the temple, and kind of bring your camels to the side, they have a sort of hitching post for beasts of burden. How do you want to go about this? There is a sort of limestone stairway leading up to the main entrance. There doesn't seem to be anyone greeting people at the door or anything like that.
Should we?
Nothing for it.
Should we? Oh. Should we leave some? Should we guard the corpses? I hate to even consider this, but hypothetically, would these be considered valuable? I can have Arson do it.
I don't mind either way. You know I'm not socially gifted, so I can certainly handle this part.
No, it's okay. Arson is also not very good at talking to people, and I think he might get a little peckish while we're in there. So it could kill two birds with one stone.
What's he gonna eat?
I mean, maybe. I also don't think he has to eat. I think he just enjoys it, as he's not technically a real bird.
I think I understand.
I think I would eat if I... Anyway, let's just go in. Also, last chance to read the letter is passing us by, so we're done with that, unless... But we're done.
Well, there might be one more chance.
That is true.
This might
we could read it over his shoulder.
The second worst possible place to read this letter. And the first possible one was in front of the person who gave it to us.
Okay, you're right. Fine. All right, we're ready. We're ready. That's why I brought it up, just so that we can say no again.
You leave Arson behind. He flutters his wings, but kind of seems to like having a little job to do, and stands on the mound of corpses and just like keeps kind of walking in a circle, like looking around for anyone getting near. You watch like a couple holding hands walk near, and Arson like nips at them with his beak, and they kind of like shy back as they continue their walk. You climb the limestone stairs. They seem to be in a bit of a state of disrepair, and you are immediately met with this strong smell of incense as you approach the temple. It is overwhelmingly palpable, even before you open the sheet. Like, it is perfumed to shit and back. And as you open the curtain, you are met with a rather interesting sight. Inside, dimly lit by torches placed in wall sconces, you enter into a large limestone room. There is a purple rug with gold accenting on the floor. There are 4 hanging censers which hold incense that seem to be magically swinging from the ceilings, kind of dispersing the incense around the room. There are candles made of purple wax with these blue flames that are sitting around a large dais, upon which there sits an altar that is just a large slab with a red sort of velvety fabric laid across it, with a there are 2 skulls sitting on the altar, and behind the altar, probably the thing that catches your eye first, is a large connecting series of tubes and wires. You see these almost like for a like a bellows for a smith. You watch as these 2 large bellows and sitting intermixed with all these wires and tubes is a man. He is garbed in red, purple, and gold robes. He is completely bald, and his skin is cracked and oozing, much like those you met with the glass skin disease that attacked your camp. He looks ancient beyond years. It's kind of hard to even put a number to it. You can't even quite tell what race he is. Elven, human, gnome, you're not sure. Most of his body is covered by a blanket that hides his legs, and his body seems to have atrophied and shrunken as he has aged. He does seem to be cognizant. He has a large tube that runs into the back of his head and into his body, as well as 2 tubes that go in through his neck by his shoulders. And he kind of looks up. The only other person in this room is a robed woman kind of standing off to the side. She seems to be fiddling with like a nozzle or a hose attached to a what do you call it? Wheel, I guess, for lack of a better term. And she seems to be changing the pressure of one of the pipes for some reason. As you enter, the figure sort of lifts their head, almost struggling to do so, and yet releases a rather loud and strong voice. "Welcome, my children. Please step forth so that I may see your faces."
Hello.
Hello.
I let those 2 step forward first, and then I step forward.
A smile cracks across his face as he looks upon the 3 of you, despite you notice his eyes having a rather notable hint of milkiness in them. If he can see, it's not well. "Welcome to the Temple of the Third Faith, the Temple of Cure. I am the Kalesh. Allow me to assist you in whatever way you need.
Oh, yes, we were sent by our employer to bring some rather sentimental cargo. We recently had a run-in the desert with some unpleasant folks, and thankfully the majority of us were able to get out unscathed. However, there were a few who were not so lucky, and we were told that this would be the place to bring them.
He nods solemnly. Sister Maria, can you please? And she kind of stops and looks up, nods, and shuffles out of the room. She will take care of what I assume are bodies outside of the temple. He nods as you nod.
Thank you.
Of course, it is one of the many brutal tasks that we must adhere to in the desert. He sort of looks over the three of you, and he seems to almost be studying you for a moment.
Uh-oh.
There is something else on your mind. Did you bring something for me?
100% yes. We were asked by I suppose a coworker of ours to bring you a letter, which is being very carefully guarded by yours truly, not yours truly, I suppose, by this tall glass of water right here, as I gesture to Vidro.
Hey, thank you, Gozzler. And we've got this letter to deliver. For one, Kalish, I believe is how you pronounced it. It's from David.
David, yes, that brings me back, and no harm, no foul, but it is pronounced Kalesh. He holds a bony hand out, very shaky and thin. He seems startlingly weak despite what his voice portrays. And his voice almost doesn't seem to come from him. It seems to just sort of come from his general direction, if that makes sense. He holds out his hand. Please, child, if you could deliver the letter to me the rest of the way. My legs are not what they used to be.
Hey. All right. And I will hesitantly take a few steps forward. Oh, hallelujah.
It's Winnie alert.
He takes the letter, and you watch as he closes his eyes and breathes deeply, and then puts the letter onto the altar in front of him. It is good to hear from my old friend, though it pains my heart to know that I do not get to see him in person. Thank you for delivering this letter to me. I do not have much to offer in thanks. However, he reaches to the side and he pulls out what seems to be a small glass vial and places it in your hands, Vidro, kind of clasping your hand over it. And as he does, you can feel his skin almost seems to be stretched over a skeleton, like his skin seems to shift and move as he paws your hand, and for a moment he grips you with unnatural strength and looks directly into your eyes and says, Vidro Beyz.
I don't recall giving you my name.
He smiles at that, but doesn't reply. You carry something with you. Walk softly. And he kind of pats your hand. We will always be here if you need guidance. And then releases your hand.
I'll keep that in mind. And I hastily walk away from the creepy stretched skin man.
I raise my hand.
Yes, how may I help you, my child?
In my other hand is a little notebook. I have several questions. If I could borrow just a second of your time.
I have naught to do but sit in a chair and answer questions. Please, come forth.
So first and most prominently, who is this cure figure to you?
He nods. Yes. A fair first question. Kayur is the god of water here in the desert, which also makes him the god of life. Water is what binds all of us, creatures, plants, you name it, water is needed for our survival. He kind of like moves his head to the side, despite some magical creatures maybe getting in the way of that analogy. However, there is no accounting for the weave. He sits back and kind of looks up for a moment. Kayur is that which sustains my life and which gives me purpose. Kayur is my light and that which allows me to work miracles in this world. If you would ever like to hear more about the faith, we do hold seminars of teaching that we may be able to give you perhaps less cryptic information than what I have. I've been told that I tend to go into philosophical ramblings when I talk about my faith.
No, this is amazing information. Thank you. As a follow-up, and slightly perhaps one of a more sensitive nature, may I ask about the affliction upon your skin? Is that a faith? Is that faith related or is that medical?
The only faith-related thing is the fact that I am still here, my child. I have what is colloquially known as the glassed skin disease. It is rather brutal on the body, and I happened to catch it when I was quite young. Our temple deals in all manners of sicknesses, despite the difficulty of casting miracles in this desert. We have bound ourselves to helping those in need, as it seems, let's call it, higher beings in our station do not wish to give them a hand. I caught the affliction while aiding citizens of this city, and through the grace of our God, we have been given the burdensome information on how to sustain a life despite carrying this burden. He seems to trail off for a second as he says it, and kind of looks back up. But that was many years ago, and this has been my form for quite some time. It is painful, but doable. Unfortunately, it is quite a lethal disease in its later stages. If not for the teachings of Kalesh, I fear I would not still be with us today.
That's truly a very impressive feat of persistence that you've displayed, sir.
He nods, and kind of wrings his hands for a moment. Yes, I have been told how giving it is for me to still be alive, despite my condition. I only wish I could give it to those who come seeking aid. Unfortunately, the process was lost when the last Kalesh died. I am more a product than a maker, it seems.
That's tough. Sorry to hear that.
We must all pass on. I grieve for my fallen kin, but I do not despair, for I know that one day I will return to them.
Sorry that I gasped. Obi bit my hand because I took my dice away from him.
That was pretty rude of you.
Evil. Anyway.
As I hastily scrawl this into my my notepad. So hypothetically, if we, I suppose this is a two-pronged question now. Hypothetically, if we had encountered a group of those afflicted with the glass skin, would there be any? Is it simply just a matter of these are? Would it be more likely that we were attacked by, effectively, just some downtrodden folks who are desperate for water and equipment, or is there some sort of organization amongst those who are unfortunate enough to succumb to it? And also, should we be worried about catching it?
Oh yes, it is, as far as we know, all humanoid races, both sentient and non, can catch the disease. We believe it is mostly warm-blooded creatures that can catch it. The disease does not seem to thrive in any of the scorpion population or many of the insects that live here, but I have yet to meet a person immune to its touch. It is not hard to catch. You may notice the rather beautiful oozing sores crossing my skin. If the liquid were to come into contact with you, I fear it could infect you. However, I was inoculated by the last Kalesh, and I, as far as I have seen, am not able to transmit the disease to others. Thank Calicore. However, again, with the loss of the last Kalesh, that information is no longer available. So for the time being, I would be incredibly cautious about touching anyone who has my affliction. As for the attack, I am sorry to hear that desperation is sending more people to crime than it is to our religion. However, we don't exactly put posters up, so I understand.
Maybe you should.
Our religion is not as beloved in the city as it used to be. We are at an all-time low on newcomers. In fact, it's just the three of us. He kind of looks around. Every is around here somewhere, probably fiddling around with the oils in the back. Him and Maria are the only children who still work here, besides myself. He pauses for a moment. But yes, the affliction does affect the mind eventually, and can lead many to do things that maybe they would not do had they not succumbed to the disease. It starts as an affliction of the skin, but as it develops, it begins to affect the internal organs, including the mind. It does not turn you into some ravaged, savage beast, but it does make it hard to make decisions, to think things through. It muddies your vision and oftentimes causes you to hallucinate. And, well, when you cannot tell reality from fiction, turns out it can be pretty hard to hold a job, especially when you can no longer be in contact with the regular citizenry. So, most of the afflicted spend their time in the shanty towns here in Jaryn Guar, or on the outskirts looking for people to rob. It is an unfortunate situation. I've been working on trying to help the afflicted, but we only have so much we can do. It is not an easily curable disease, and I can only heal so many a day.
Hi.
At this point, I'm like anxiously rubbing like where I got shot with a crossbow bolt yesterday.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
Of course, I'm
sorry.
A living library. It is the least I can do.
I do the sores, just out of morbid curiosity. Do the sores? Do the sores resemble kind of like any sort of glass that I've worked with before? Like,
although it's called the glass skin disease, that is mostly due to the brittle nature of the skin, not necessarily like it's not like opaque or anything. It causes the skin to crack apart with like weeping sores.
Gotcha. I was very worried that my patron had something to do with this. Thank God. Okay.
Oh.
So, do you have any more questions for our gentleman here in the room?
I think Temple of Kior, Kalash, Goskin disease. I think that answers most of the questions that I have for you. I appreciate it.
Of course. If you would ever like to come back, I would be more than willing to answer any questions. And if I am resting, I am sure I can find Every somewhere to come forward and answer those for you.
You know, I actually do have one more question, and depending on your taste for politics, this may come off as a little gauche. And
I give you a kind of a like.
Look, and like I probably like it's one of those situations where I'm too excited about thinking about the question to like fully commit to whispering, but I just kind of like get like a little like breathy about it. I'm like, how do you feel about the whole like the whole blood coin economy thing? Because I think I'm not from here, and so I'm not really certain how cultural tastes are, and I've heard that this is sort of a new development, and so I kind of want to get like a bit of an ethnography going here.
The changes were made during the time of the former Kalesh. I do not have much memory of time before blood was used as currency here. However, from what I do remember when I was younger, the transition was unfortunately a good thing. The water of the self, our blood, is the essence of life. We need it to survive. We can transfuse it into each other to offer our vitality. And while when I was younger and maybe a little more brash, I had several problems with our system, I have come to learn that perhaps it is the best we can do with what we have the time being. We have not the iron to have a backed economy, no gold. In fact, no mines, as far as I know of, outside of mining amber out of the nests. I do think that he seems to be a little uncomfortable. He kind of shifts. I wish I knew of another way. But I've only been Kalesh for so long, and I fear that my wisdom is still building. I hope that given it a few years, maybe I can come up with my own solution to our economic difficulties. However, something tells me you know how difficult of a man Adam Wallace can be to work with.
One could certainly place it in those words.
That was the woman before him. The Iron Woman.
Oh, the Iron
You ever
Lady.
meet her?
Yes. I did meet her, actually. I met her several times. She didn't visit often. There was... I have to be careful. I don't want to give out any information that... think of it as patient confidentiality, yes? I don't want to reveal any information that would sunder her name, considering her status, both as a ruler and as a citizen of our city. But I can say she was a firm believer in Calicore, and I can confirm that while a hard woman, she tried.
Right. Thanks.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No.
Well, I will have, hold on. You watch as he brings down, like, a bell and, like, rings it, and it kind of lets out this boom, boom. And you watch, skittering out from one of the hallways is a small kobold. It is, he's probably about 3 feet tall. He has sort of splotchy orangish red skin and wears these purple robes that are definitely too big for him, and he kind of scampers in. He's holding a little tablet with some information kind of etched into it, and he smells very strongly of perfumes and incense.
He's stinky.
Yes, my Kalesh, how can I help you? Could you please show our visitors out and give them a pamphlet on when we have our meetings? I suspect we will be speaking to them again. Yes, of course. And he bows very deeply. Hello, my name is Every Dashta Kavir, and I am one of the workers here in the temple of Calicore, and he like fuddles into his pockets. He drops the tablet and it shatters. I'll make a new one. He's like scatters up all the broken tablet bits and kind of like shoves them into his robe pockets, and then pulls out these little papyrus papers and hands one to each of you, which details different dates and times of like prayer that at the temple.
Oh no.
And so, he kind of begins to kind of usher you guys outside, kind of fanning his arms while he talks. Do you kind of like let him escort you out, or?
Yeah, I let him. I feel like
okay.
I've seen enough in here.
As you exit, he's kind of rambling. Oh yes, we hold many different activities here, including sometimes we teach you how to make candles and incense for the god Calicore. He walks you to the door and then stops, and kind of sheepishly kind of moves his feet. I cannot join you in the outside, but that is the door right there. And he points at just the doorway.
Why can't you come with us?
I assumed most people know of cobalt. We are sensitive to the sunlight. It hurts our eyes. I tend not to go out during the day. Luckily, I work most of the day in a big box, so I only usually go out at night.
Forgive me for asking so many personal questions of people today. Is there a large cobalt community in Jaryn Guar?
He kind of awkwardly flicks his tail and kind of looks at the ground, and kind of fingers the pamphlets in his hands. There used to be.
Oh.
The glass. Turns out kobolds are not immune to it, and turns out kobolds are, well, a rather insular community. I was young, and before my mother caught it, she had me brought to the temple for safety. They are with the gods now.
Oh well, and I assume that we're like roughly the same height, which is a good thing. I offer him a little handshake. I'm glad. Thank you for answering honestly. And thank you for the information.
He gives you a toothy grin and kind of vigorously shakes your hand. If I'm honest, I have not had a lot of luck getting new followers. So if you do not have a god to pray to, please, Calicore is maybe not the most talkative of gods, but he has done much for us.
Like what?
He opens his arms and points to himself and kind of gestures. My mother got a vision. Baby, I'm about to end. Calicore sent a vision to my mother before the disease took our household itself, and she had a dream of the temple and brought me here. While it maybe not maybe some people still have a hard time, the gods do what they can. He seems like really kind of like awkward about that question.
I'm really sorry. I'm not trying to.
No, it is okay.
You know,
Many of the people in Jaryn Guar are skeptical of the gods. Life is hard here, but I promise that we do what we can to commune with the gods to make things better. Not just Calicore. This may be a temple to Calicore, but we speak to the three. Rather, in general, we simply revere Calicore as our main deity.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I definitely, way out of line. I shouldn't have asked that. But thank you for telling me. Thank you.
He bows. It is my job and my passion. Answering questions is what we are here for. That and helping where we can with physical ailments. The bodies that you delivered, Maria, he kind of points outside to where the woman is, seems to be taking bodies off your skiff and putting them onto some kind of like very large sort of stretcher that carries like one or two at a time, and she drags them off towards like the back of the temple. It will take a little time for us to prepare the bodies and have them ready for their burning. Perhaps you could come back tomorrow for the ceremony. We tend to burn bodies at night, as, well, it gets pretty cold at night, and the heat helps keep us warm in the temple. I know that that's dark, but...
Might as well be efficient about it. Makes sense.
To do it, Japan to survive out here in the desert. I understand as well.
Well, enjoy your stay here in the city, thank you for showing interest in our humble temple.
Of course.
Of course.
He bows and recedes back into the chamber, and I think that is where we will end today's session. You guys are on the steps of the temple, and you have the rest of the day to kind of explore Jaryn Guar, as well as the next day after, before you go to the ceremony. Yeah, any comments, questions, or concerns?
My brows furrow anytime we talk to someone who lives here. It just makes me worry for them.
Thank you for letting me. Thank you for letting me just have an excuse to make my character take notes.
Dude, absolutely.
Yay.
I love
Note
it.
time.
All right. Well, it is disgustingly, meltingly hot in this room,
Oh,
so
really?
I am going to abscond. Thank you guys so much for playing. I believe we should have a session next week. We were unsure about it, but I think we will have a session next week. I will keep you guys up to date on that, but for now, expect a session. And if it doesn't happen, I will let you know beforehand.
I'm really excited that we left a live plague victim in close proximity to our coworkers and
Pretty
boss.
good, right?
I'm so
I think that was very good and cool of us. I also love that we got into like a fight with them, and like we probably exchanged bodily fluids, probably kissed a little bit.
Yeah. Just a quick smooch as a treat.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, they're fine.
Oh.
No big deal.
And
Not a big deal at all. Wonder what the letter said.
Hey, bud.
Devin, tell me what the letter said for free.
I'll never tell you what the letter said. I do have it written down in my notes, but I will not tell you what it says.
Dear diary, today I met a girl.
It's true. David met a girl.
He's gonna do the same thing Rahim did, and I'm gonna try to stealth my way into your notebook.
No! All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for playing D&D. Folks, thanks for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow for YouTube night, and I will see you freaks when I see you, freaks.
Remember to brush your teeth.
You'll see me so soon.
So true.